That was pretty predictable.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, sorry, folks. Just give me a moment here. I am strolling, trying to find positive takeaways from this game. Calvin Russell entered the game late, and William Kyle had a really cool block. Other than that, I got nothing. Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson Holzer. This is Locked On Syracuse. Thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. We are always free and available wherever you get your podcasts here on the #1 sports podcasting network. On today's show, it is a post-game reaction podcast. We are going to break down Syracuse basketball's 88-68 loss to NC State on the road. The defense has pretty much disappeared. We know that the offense isn't very good. Don't worry, our head coach says that it's not a problem. So I am sure that they're going to watch the tape from this game and that they are going to work on some things and that their offense will be fixed for their next game and for the rest of this season. So don't worry, our head coach has it all under control. Offense is not a problem. Defense, while it has sputtered, it will be okay. And Syracuse basketball is going to be just fine. Okay, cool. So after that, we will go over what is next for Syracuse basketball and how they can maybe win their next game. And then they got a couple of big opportunities on the road against Virginia and North Carolina. Sound good to everyone? All right, great. So that was really hard to do with a straight face. I got to be honest with you. So I don't have really a blow up in me. I don't think you're going to get that from me from this game. And the reason why, honestly, is because A, they've now lost 4 in a row. And so we kind of all expected that they were going to lose this game. I mean, this was a quad 1 opportunity, sure, but NC State's really good. They're feeling good right now, and they're starting to hit their mojo. Quadir Copeland revenge game. I mean, we all knew he was going to have a good game. Quadir Copeland, he gave you 19 points. He made all of his free throws, 9 of 9. Also had 9 assists. He nearly had a double-double, but his teammates kind of let him down towards the end. They couldn't hit an open 3. Otherwise, he would have had it. Yeah. This is where we are at now, ladies and gentlemen. There's not much really new material to go over in this game, truthfully. So here's where we're at. I guess I can take this in so many different ways. So I'm trying to gather my thoughts. And also another reason why I don't have another blow up in me right now is because I guess thankfully for Syracuse basketball and all of their players and coaches who can't deal with any sort of pressure or any sort of moment, whatever. I didn't wake up feeling well this morning. I just woke up kind of with a runny nose. I was a little bit sick, still not feeling great. I mean, I'm not like terrible. I'm good enough to do this, but maybe that's why you notice there's something little off with my voice right now. Yeah, that's where we're kind of at. But okay, so Syracuse lost this game to NC State 88-68. In the first half, Syracuse trailed 2-0 4 seconds in because after the tip, I mean, it goes right to Darian Williams and he races to the basket and he gets the first 2 points of the game. And Syracuse did not even tie the game after that, let alone take a lead. So now Syracuse basketball in back-to-back games against NC State and Miami has not led at any point during the game. Not one time. Syracuse in the second half, they did have an opportunity. It was 41-39 to tie or take the lead, but of course they could not take advantage of it. That was really their only moment where I felt maybe there could be some sort of turnaround, because even in the first half, where Syracuse battled to keep it somewhat close and competitive, even though NC State got out to a 10-2 lead pretty much in a blink of an eye. Again, before you can even sit down, Syracuse's already behind the 8 ball in the game. Donnie Freeman put the team on his back. He had 16 points and 6 rebounds. So Syracuse was only down 41-37 at the half. I didn't think that the Orange had any sort of chance to come back in the second half. I mean, no. But at least Donnie was having a really good game, so it was making it somewhat competitive. But Syracuse heading into this game was 0-5 when trailing at the end of the first half. Did you really think that Adrian Autry was going to outsmart Will Wade as a tactician? Absolutely not. Did you think that the players were going to step up in the second half and rise to the occasion and battle back and eventually win this game? Of course not. I mean, they're Charmin Ultrasoft here. I mean, that's just who they are. So when you go over the positive takeaways, William Kyle had like a really unbelievable block in the second half. The game was already over, and Nait George, we'll get to him, he missed the bunny in transition right after. But hey, that block by William Kyle was really cool. And the game got so far out of hand that Calvin Russell, Syracuse's 5-star wide receiver in the class of 2026, who's going to be playing for Syracuse football next year, he entered the game. So that was really cool. Honestly, that was really, really cool. At least we got to see Calvin Russell on the floor in a Syracuse uniform playing basketball. I mean, that's honestly, like, jokes aside and everything, that's a tremendous accomplishment because he just became, when he enters the football field next year, I mean, he just became a two-way player. Not two-way player, two-sport player. That's incredibly rarefied air. So congratulations to Calvin Russell and his family for actually getting on the court and playing. And Calvin Russell got an and one too. So good for him. But those were the only positives I had from the game. Now, I'm not going to be calling for Adrian Autry's job as much in this show because I've already made my stance very clear on Adrian Autry. And at this point, I don't feel like I have to defend myself because I'm just going to let the results speak for themselves at this point. And I'll let everyone at this point come to their own conclusion about Adrian Autry. I will speak about Nait George. So Nait George, after last game against Miami, he called out the fans. He said something along the lines of like, I thought this was a respected fan base. Here's the thing. I in the last show didn't really give a response. I said that I don't care. And truthfully, I still don't really care. But if you're Nait George, if you're going to call out the fans of Syracuse, you best believe that your next game on the court better be a good one. Nait George in this game was the worst player on the court, either side. He was terrible. I barely noticed him. The only time I noticed him was when he missed the bunny in transition after the really cool William Kyle block. Nait George in this game had 4 points. He was 2 of 12 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. He had 3 assists, and he had a couple of turnovers. So congratulations to Nait George. Everyone give him a golf clap. He only had 2 turnovers tonight. Bravo to Nait George. I don't know. I mean, comment your thoughts right now in the comments section below. Is there anything that we skipped over from this game? I mean, would you like to talk about how Quadir Copeland was really good and how he had a couple of dunks, including an exclamation point towards the end of the second half when NC State was pulling away? Do you want me to harp on the past and the fact that Syracuse could have had Will Wade this offseason? He was sitting right there. He was coming from McNeese State. You knew he wanted a power conference opportunity. And instead of our athletic director having a brain, he decides to stay with Adrian Autry. Meanwhile, NC State says, we got to get rid of this Kevin Keats guy. Let's go get Will Wade. And lo and behold, I mean, the results showed. I mean, what do I know? I mean, that couldn't have possibly been Syracuse who could have done that. So, all right, did I miss anything? So comment in the comments section below. Coming up, I guess we'll talk about how this defense for Syracuse basketball is just pathetic. So stick with me here on Locked On Syracuse. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. I guess the only moment for Syracuse in this game was William Kyle's amazing dunk. These remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. I mean, quite literally, he went up higher than probably anyone I've ever seen to get a block. That's what extra work off the court really does, right? Dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and I never quit. We put that same passion into every model, highlights that make the real. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Locked on Syracuse, I'm Jackson Holzer. Once again, this is a post-game reaction to Syracuse basketball losing on the road to NC State 88-68 for their fourth straight loss. Here's a topic. The defense has sucked. Remember when the defense for Syracuse earlier this season was their calling card? Remember those days in November and in December, and remember in Vegas when it was their calling card and how tough they were against Houston and how they fought against Kansas. We don't talk about the Iowa State game, but remember also that defense and how they really smothered Tennessee and they kind of mucked it up, and they played that hard-nosed style. Where is that? I would like to know. I think all Syracuse fans would like to know, because my observation now of Syracuse is that they don't just have an offense problem, they have a defense problem. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're not good at offense and you're not good at defense, you are not going to win a lot of basketball games. There's no special teams in basketball. It's only offense and defense. They're not pretty good. They're not good at either. That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is a problem. This game, they allowed 88 points. Last game against Miami, they allowed 85. Virginia Tech, 76. Boston College, 81. 86 to Florida State. Where has it gone? Where is it? Where is this defense? The amount of layups and dunks that NC State got in the half court, the amount of times they were freed up in the paint. There are way too many examples of that. Is it poor communication? Is it just they're not good enough? They can't slide their feet? I thought we had the necessary athletes to where this wasn't really supposed to be a problem. It is a problem. Where has it gone? Comment your thoughts right now in the comments section below. Is Syracuse's defense going to wake up at some point this season? It's not like it doesn't exist. It was there earlier. The amount of times that we had to see an NC State player go right down Broadway for a layup or a dunk is beyond me. And it's one thing when it happens after a Nait George turnover when he crosses half court. I mean, those are to be expected, but it's another thing when you're in the half court and you're allowing those to happen. How many times in this game as well did NC State get second, third, and fourth chance opportunities? It seemed like every time Syracuse was maybe like they get that, they got to get this like one stop, all right? Get that one stop and you have maybe some sort of chance. They couldn't get it every single time in this game. This game was honestly excruciating to watch because despite the fact that it was so clear throughout the game that NC State was a better team, they just couldn't pull away. And so maybe for some of you, not me, it gave you the false hope that if Syracuse could muster just a couple of stops together, they could go on that 7-0 run and they could tie or take the lead, right? Because throughout most of the second half, before this game ended up being a 20-point blowout, Syracuse kept hovering around the 5 to 9 point deficit range. And they couldn't get out of it, but they also were staying in the game. You need stops, let alone the points. Points are going to come. Just get the stops. What have we said repeatedly on this show? The way that Syracuse's offense functions is through its defense. They force turnovers. They create havoc. They run out in transition on long rebounds, and they generate easy baskets before the other team can set their defense. And it's necessary for Syracuse because they don't really have a half-court offense. Well, if they're not getting stops on defense, they can't really generate much of an offense either. So again, I ask you all, where has the defense gone? Have the players stopped playing for Adrian Autry? I think it's a legitimate question. You may not like that question. The players may not like it. The coaches may not like it, but I have to ask that question. Where has it gone? Where is the effort? Where is the energy? Where is the fight? Where is the grit that we hear over and over and over and over again from these Syracuse players and these Syracuse coaches? Where is it? I would just like to know. I think many of us Syracuse fans would also like to know as well. And when you decide to play better, please feel free to let us know. I mean, it would be great. It would be great for everyone when you decide to play better. Because right now, this team is on a 4-game losing streak. I can't keep... How many times do I have to repeat myself that this season is dead? It's over. They're just making... It's just another nail in the coffin, another nail in the coffin, another nail in the coffin. That's all it is right now. I mean, look, they may in their next game win. Because next Saturday, I mean, this coming Saturday, I should say, on the 31st, they got Notre Dame at home. Maybe they win that game. Notre Dame's not very good. They could win that game. It is on the table that Syracuse wins. But after Notre Dame, they got to go to North Carolina and to Virginia? I'm sorry, what? You think it's going to get any better? Huh? And then after that, you couldn't deal with the Quadir Copeland revenge game. Well, good luck with the Chris Bell revenge game when Cal comes to town. Oh, and after you get through that, you get a nice, easy home game against, I don't know, actually a very good SMU team. And then even if you can get by SMU, you got to go to Duke. All right. So now we got 11 games left in the regular season. I think, let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not 10 more games left in the season. Sorry, my sick brain is going on right now. What is their best record prediction? Like, what do you think is the best case scenario for Syracuse? Is it 5-5 if they're lucky? Do we have to start asking if the ACC tournament, are they going to miss it? Do we have to do the same thing we did last year? I would just like to know. I mean, I think we all, again, would like to know. To the players and the coaches, what do you need from the fans? What do you need? Do you need our support? Because right now, what is there to support? If you're going to call us out, you can't, in your next game, go to Raleigh and lose by 20 and never in the game have a lead. It's just the jokes write themselves. Coming up, I guess we'll talk about the road ahead for Syracuse basketball, but this is where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen, so stick with me here on Locked On Syracuse. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. Now, for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. What is the road ahead for this team? You have any suggestions? I mean, comment your thoughts right now in the comments section below. I mean, I don't think they're gonna fire Adrian Autry by the time you're watching or listening to this. I've already said my piece on it. I don't want to do it to all you guys where I continue to repeat myself. So okay. You got a sitting duck head coach. On Saturday, they're going to play Notre Dame. I need to check the score at the time of this recording. Notre Dame was in a close one, actually at home against Virginia. So maybe I'll check the score of that. It's in double overtime at the time of this recording. Yeah, so that team's coming to the Dome. I know that Notre Dame is not very good. Like Notre Dame's record heading into that game against Virginia is 11-9, but they have one win or two wins in the conference, so they're not very good. It's plain and simple. They're not very good, but they're hanging tough at home against Virginia. So I don't think Syracuse anyway is good enough to where they could take an opponent lightly, but I do think they could win that game on Saturday. Will it matter? No, that's the issue. They can win on Saturday and beat Notre Dame, but it won't matter. It does nothing for Syracuse. They're so far out of it. And Notre Dame is not a good enough team to where they could make up any ground if they beat Notre Dame at home. They could beat Notre Dame at home by 40. Who cares? So you got basically a throwaway game on Saturday. After that, it's what we talked about earlier. You got a 2-game swing on a Monday and a Saturday at North Carolina and at Virginia, two places where Syracuse historically plays their best basketball. Just kidding. They suck in both of those venues. So, what's next? I mean, I guess they'll be maybe 4-6 in the conference, so 13-11 overall after that stretch. It's not getting any better. This is what I have been saying for a while. It's not going to get better for this team. They have failed every benchmark this season. Failed. First 4 games, what did we say? They need to blow out all of them. Well, the first 3, they blew them out, but that 4th game against Monmouth was not a blowout. But fine, we gave them a pass for it. We said in the stretch of Vegas and Tennessee, which was going to be 4 games, they need to go 2-2. They went 1-3 with a blowout loss to Iowa State. You had a win against Tennessee, and you had a close loss to Houston, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades at this point. Does nothing for the team that they were close. They needed to dominate all their non-conference opponents up until ACC play. Not only did they not dominate all of their opponents, they were only able to dominate one of them. They lost to Hofstra at home before they head into this tough stretch of ACC play, which they're currently in the midst of right now. And we're seeing what this Syracuse team is truly made of, which is a bad loss to Miami and a blowout loss to NC State. When I say bad loss to Miami, I mean that Miami was just a superior team. Syracuse just was not good enough in that game. They couldn't, they were outmatched physically. But before it, they lost to Boston College, which was inexcusable. You don't need more NIL to beat Boston College. And they lost at home to Virginia Tech. And I get that Virginia Tech is better than we thought they were going to be, but that is still a home game that you have to win if you want to be a tournament team. And they didn't get it done. And so now they're in this tough stretch and they're losing to Miami. They're losing to NC State, and they're basically out of chances now. Even if they were to somehow go on some sort of hot streak at the end of the regular season, it would only impact where they're going to be seeded in the ACC tournament. That's it. They can't make it at large. They're basically eliminated. I'm sorry, but that is the deal right now. You can call me negative all you want. You can call me whiny all you want. I'm just telling you the truth. Whether you choose to accept it or not is up to you. Now, as far as what's coming up on this podcast in the near future, we might do a fan reaction show to this. We'll see. Jordan Capozzi is scheduled to come on the show on Wednesday evening, but I'll probably have that show for Thursday. And then Syracuse basketball is going to play Notre Dame on Saturday. Win, lose, or draw, there will be a post-game reaction. But again, I hate to break it to you, and it's not good for my bottom line, but that game legitimately does nothing for Syracuse. Again, not good for my bottom line. In the broadcast handbook, you can't say that a game doesn't matter. You can't say that you shouldn't care or anything like that. I'm not telling you to not care. Okay. You can do that. That's up to you if you want to care about this team or not. But what I am saying is that they may win that game and it does nothing. If they lose that game, it also does nothing, because once you're in the coffin and the seal has been shut and the nails are in and you're dug deep into the earth, there's nothing you can do. So comment your thoughts on this game and the season overall in the comment section below. Genuinely, I really do appreciate the support from all of you for this season. I apologize that this team stinks. But I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for listening. If you like this podcast, please feel free to hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And also, hey, you really enjoy this podcast? You like watching me freak out? You like listening to me freak out? Then hit that subscribe button and share it to all your Syracuse friends while we're at it, okay? I mean, like, this is, that would be great. It'd be much appreciated. So I thank you all so much for watching. I thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you all again soon.